us. Here we got a few more people. Here we go. All right. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. We really appreciate it. I'm Betsy Waters, and we are working together today with NYPAY and IMTC and the REM Tech Awards. Ron Mazurski, one of our very own, was a judge on the REM Tech Awards, and he thought it would be fun to look at some of the award winners and have them talk to us as a group. So Olivia Chow is with us today, and she's in my upper left-hand corner. I don't know about everybody else's. There she is, and she's going to take over from here. But just a few little housekeeping questions. We've got a poll going up. In a moment, we're going to look at the results of our poll. If you'd like to share any stories, please share it in the chat. Please also feel free to chat and say hello in the chat. Share your LinkedIn pages. I've shared mine. And anything else. If you have questions, Olivia is going to go over the format, but if you have questions in the chat, if you have questions, please, we'll have time to ask them. You're welcome to put them in the chat, and I will do my best to find them and make sure that we get to them as we go along. And I think that's it. Oh, one other thing I did want to say is if there's all kinds of interesting things in the chat, don't worry. In the bottom right of the chat, you may notice there's 3 little dots. You can click on those 3 dots and you can save the chat. So all the interesting stuff from the chat you can get later on as the afternoon goes on. Anyway, I will turn it over to Olivia. Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to NYPAY and IMTC. Olivia. Olivia, you're muted. There you go.
Can you hear me now? Good. Yeah, thank you, Betsy, for having me at NYPAY here. So I co-chair the REM Tech Awards, which is produced by IMTC. We've been doing it since 2017. I've been doing it with them since 2018. For those of you who aren't familiar, it's an awards that is meant to celebrate innovations for remittances. So that means it can be companies that are directly in remittances, but it can also be innovations that in some way benefit the remittance industry and the migrants that they serve. So remittances generally are transfers moving across borders, generally migrants, but we also, there are also companies that do this for small businesses. And yeah, it's an industry that is constantly evolving. And so I think we, IMTC put together the REM Tech Awards partially just to both celebrate these innovators, but also just make sure the industry knows what is happening. And, you know, there's opportunities for partnerships, and that people know that, you know, companies that they maybe been working with for decades, that they're new projects and there's new things coming out, and that, that everyone knows what's going on. So appreciate that NYPAY is having us here so that we can share some of that. And we will have 3 of the award winners speaking with us today. They're going to be doing presentations with hopefully with some of the demonstrations of how their software actually works. And let me also, I will also partake in the LinkedIn sharing. You can see right now, this is my LinkedIn. I do other things besides the REM Tech Awards, but in general, I just work in the space of international money transfer companies and helping them with whatever they need from bank accounts to licensing and things like that. Let's see, so we have the poll results. Let's see here. Betsy, do we have the poll results?
Nikki and Bill can put them up. There we go. So 73% have actually done a personal remittances. That's very interesting. Yeah. So we got a lot of people with personal experiences here.
Good. Okay. So yeah, hopefully you can get some context of how those remittances actually move. So yeah, we're going to do just overview of the format. Each presenter will present for up to 10 minutes. And then we will have a short 5-minute Q&A and open it up to the audience so that we can discuss each entry, each winner on its own. And then at the end, the remaining time, we will do kind of a quick rapid fire questions for everyone. And so that we can kind of like wrap that up together. Did I miss anything, Betsy? That's it? All right. We're going to start with TerraPay, who are based in Africa. Your innovation was interoperability as a service. And that's very important in Africa in particular. There's so many different ways people receive payments, and TerraPay has been trying to work on bridging those gaps. And so they actually won the Innovation for Africa Award, which was a new category that we did this year because we had planned. So normally the REM Tech Awards, actually, we do the ceremony with the United Nations. And they do an event each year, but it was postponed due to COVID, but it was supposed to be in Nairobi, Kenya. So we had an Innovation for Africa category this year, and that was TerraPay. So I would like to bring it over to our speaker today. Philip, can we get you unmuted? Philip Daniel.
Hey, thanks, Olivia.
No problem.
Let me just share my screen.
And remind us, what do you do at TerraPay?
Yeah, sure. So firstly, Olivia, Betsy, thank you for having me, and thank you for giving TerraPay the opportunity. I would like to especially thank IMTC for bestowing this award on TerraPay. A very quick introduction. I'm Philip Daniel. I manage the TerraPay's Americas business. I'm currently based out of Dubai. I have plans to move to Canada. It was supposed to happen early this year, but unfortunately, as we all know, COVID came and the world had completely different plans. So I'm managing things from here right now. We'll be moving to that part of the world very soon. So I have a presentation today. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, your screen's shown. Looks good.
All right. Okay, so let me start with who we are and what we do. So we build and manage a global payments highway, which enable our partners and their customers to do instant, secure, and low-cost digital payments. Established in 2014, we have our headquarters in Netherlands, with our offices in Canada, in UK, in Kenya, in UAE, and in India. Our investors are IFC, which is part of the World Bank Group, Partech and Prime Ventures, which are venture capitalists. As you can see in my screen, we have very esteemed partners across the world. The who is who of the remittance and the payments industry, like Western Union, MoneyGram, RIA, TransferWise, which is an online money transfer company. We had a strategic partnership with Visa this year. Many banks and telcos on the receive side. I'll move on to what is unique with TerraPay and what makes us successful. A couple of factors. We can pay into more than 2 billion bank accounts in 67 countries and 500 million mobile wallets. And these can be done from more than 120 countries through our partner network. We also have regulatory licenses in 45 plus countries, regulatory approvals and licenses. To name some of them, we have our license in the UK, the FCA license, we have the FinTrack Canada license, we have Mauritius FSC license, many other licenses in Africa and other countries, plus the regulatory approval. That is something very unique to TerraPay. Very importantly, today, 97% of our transactions are paid real time. When I say real time, this gets processed in less than 30 seconds. And when you take mobile wallets in particular, this time goes down further. To give you a good example, our fastest transaction on record is a transaction which was done by Western Union into MTN in Ghana. And that was done in 555 milliseconds. That's just a blink of an eye. So that gives you an idea on how quick and instant our payments are. How did we do it? Obviously, it is because of a very strong understanding of our customer behavior, the market dynamics. We have a very strong tech team. And of course, we have a very good understanding on how the regulatory and the compliance framework works. We also have done this because we have a robust partnership. We have listened to our partners, and the trust of our partners have helped us to achieve this. What do we give our partners? Of course, number one is the increase in revenues. So today, TerraPay offers one of the most competitive FX rates to the partners and a fixed fee model commission. So this basically enables our partners to mark up on the FX or help them to fix their own fee. That's on the increase in the revenues. Equally important is a peace of mind. So today, considering the regulatory environment, compliance environment, we provide regulatory cover for our partners in the 67 countries which we today send the monies to. We provide data security, which is equally important these days. The speed and flexibility of our partnerships. To give you an example, we have done new partnerships in just weeks. That means, initial discussion, signing the contracts, completing the integration and going live have happened in weeks. We're very flexible from a technical point of view on the integration part. For example, if a partner cannot integrate into our API, we can help them to integrate into their API. So we're quite flexible from a technical point of view. We also provide a very good settlement option to our partners. We can receive settlements in multiple currencies, for example, in USD, in pounds, or in euros. This helps our partners, particularly with a single settlement. For example, if a partner wants to have partnership in different countries, they have to do multiple settlements in different countries, multiple reconciliation. This takes away the hassle from the partner. Talk about our efficiency. I said, for example, we can, in a single API, our partners can connect to more than 67 countries. And last but not the least, the customer service part of things. So we have a 24/7 customer support. Our customer support is based in Bangalore, in India. I'll talk a bit more about our network. So today we have our presence in Africa, which is like we can do instant payments to 22 countries, which is bank accounts and wallets in Africa. We're also working on launching our North African corridors. For example, very important corridors like Morocco and Egypt is in the pipeline. I'll talk a bit more about Africa, especially because, and that's the reason we are here, because we got the RemTech award for the innovation in Africa. Today, with our infrastructure, we enable millions of migrants across the world to make instant payments to their loved ones, and that too at a very low cost. We are very proud of the fact that TerraPay has played a very significant role in reducing the cost of remittance in certain regions by 50%. For example, in the Middle East, there are many partners which have, because of the cost factors, have reduced the pricing to the customer, and which has helped thousands and thousands of customers. So that's something which we are very proud of, the instant nature of our service. So today, someone in the Middle East or in Europe or in the US can send money to, let's say, his or her mother in Kenya in a fraction of a second. So that's our innovation to Africa, which we believe, has helped, many customers around. This also reflects TerraPay's corporate social responsibility, being also part of an IFC company, which is part of the World Bank Group. This has a wider reflection of the group's corporate social responsibility. In Asia, also, we have a very good network, which is currently around 12 countries where we offer instant payments, and a few other important countries also will be launching very soon. In Europe, we provide instant settlements into 32 SEPA countries, and we are also working to launch some of the non-SEPA countries in the coming months. Americas, we have our presence as a send market. For example, US and Canada, we have very strong partnerships like Western Union and MoneyGram and RIA and many other players. But we are also developing our receive side of Americas. For example, we'll be launching US dollar payments into US and Canadian dollar payments into the Canadian market. We are also launching around 10 Latin American markets for bank accounts very soon. So that's a quick overview of our network. Our journey so far, it was established in 2014. Our first transaction happened in 2015. It was a transaction from UAE to Rwanda. From 2014-15 to in the last 4-5 years, we have added many partners, which you can see some of the prominent partners like Western Union and MoneyGram, RIA, Sendwave in the US, regional players, many partners. We've also done specific projects for governments to provide certain solutions for interoperability, regional and domestic interoperability. For example, we have done a project for GMAC, which connects Central African countries. We've also done a project in the South African countries with SADC. We also have, power the mobile wallets in Bangladesh, which is called bKash. So not just money transfer, we also provide solutions to our partners. 2020 was a very interesting year. We announced a new strategic partnership with Visa. We also had our new partners on board, which is, as I said, IFC, Partech, and Prime Ventures. And it was very interesting also because of COVID and other factors. Our business have grown multifold compared to many other companies. Many companies are struggling. Thanks to the vision of our founders and the team, our focus was completely on the digital payout channels that really helped us in our growth. So our plans for the future, we will be focusing on IMT, the international money transfer part, the P2P business. We will also be launching our business-to-business payments for international money transfers, interoperability, domestic and regional interoperability and payments. We will also focus on direct integration with more mobile wallets, particularly in Africa and Asia. We will also be expanding into the Americas, the South Americas in particular as a receive market. We will continue to invest in getting more licenses. For example, our license in the US is under process and Singapore is also under process, and many other key markets we will be adding more licenses. Innovation and value-added services. So as I said, we are all ears for our partners. Our partners keep coming to us with real-life problems. We believe that we should solve their problems, so we will be focusing on putting our efforts to develop many solutions to our partners. Last but not the least, with our global strategic partnership with Visa, we will be building cutting-edge solutions to improve cross-border payments as well as domestic spends on the mobile wallets. So that's about TerraPay. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Philip, for that overview of what you're doing. Sounds like you guys are making a lot of progress, exciting for 2021. Yes, I mean, you told us a little bit there where you just recently got some investment for 2020 and it seems like you're just going to be expanding and trying to duplicate what you've done so well already in your existing markets?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Great. What would you say is your ideal partner be looking for that could take advantage of TerraPay?
So anyone who believes in digital, payment infrastructure. So we have termed some very interesting terminology. We now say that we build a global payments highway. So in that perspective, the opportunity there is endless. It is not just money transfer. It is like payments, across the world for different requirements. The opportunities are endless. So anyone who shares the same vision is what we call as an ideal partner for us. But in terms of, what you call good partners. I mean, we can't ask for more in the sense we have all the who's who of the remittance market, right? You have Western Union, which uses us for many corridors, not just for Africa, for Asia and many other countries. Similarly, RIA, TransferWise, many players, right? So we already have a lot of them, but yes, that's not the end of the world. We obviously are looking for many, banks, for example, telcos, for example. So yes, it's endless. The opportunity is endless.
Because you're more business facing, right? Or do you also face the consumer as well?
No, we don't. Yes, so that's a very important question, Olivia. No, so we are a B2B player in the sense TerraPay only partners with a licensed entity. So we don't directly onboard an individual customer. It is only the B2B player, the licensed entity, which partners with us, and that partner onboards the customer.
I saw the Visa partnerships. I'm guessing, are you doing a bit more bill pay, like actual payments too? Is that part of the strategy?
So, it is a global strategy. It's quite open. We are working with different regions of Visa to explore new possibilities. But one possibility is payments into Visa cards. The other possibility is that, today, take Africa, for example. We are connected to 500 million mobile wallets. And the telcos, will give an option for a request to pay. So, for example, someone in Africa who wants to buy someone from the US today do not have a bank account or a credit card. So this is the option for them to make a payment to buy something for e-commerce, right? So that is another possibility for us. Yes.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much, Philip, for your time. Phoning in from Dubai all the way over here. And did you leave your information in the chat so that anyone can reach out to you if they have further questions?
I'll do that. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And Philip, please stay. Please, you're welcome to join us for the rest and be very into. Maybe you'll have some good questions.
Sure.
Yeah, no, please stay. We have a little bit afterwards. Tori Samples will be speaking with us next. She is one of the co-founders of Leaf Global Fintech. It is a company that is using blockchain with mobile wallets. I think it's actually the first one to do that with using USSD and using it to help refugees move money across borders safely. I'll let you, Tori, tell us a bit more about that.
Great. Thanks, Olivia, so much. Very happy to be here and to get to speak with all of you today. I will go ahead and drop my LinkedIn in the chat. Always happy to talk. That's a lot of what I get to do. So very happy if anyone wants to reach out. Yeah, I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen here and give you a sense of what Leaf does and a bit of my background and a bit of where we are today. So at the risk of being very cheesy, this is just something that popped into my head right now based on my own personal needs in 2020. I'm going to invite you to virtually travel with me because this is not an investor pitch and more just a chance to share. And so I probably make this a bit more fun and engaging, hopefully, than our standard pitch. But we, for context, work mostly with refugees and migrants, as Olivia said, and currently in East Africa. So I'm sitting in Kigali, Rwanda today. That's where I live. And most of our customers are East African or have some sort of connection to the region. And so obviously we're not all physically getting on planes like we used to. I very much miss that in my day-to-day life, but you're welcome here in Rwanda with me. You can put yourself there and just imagine what it would be like to live in a place that is fairly stable, maybe Eastern Congo, but has problems and always has and probably always will. You're pretty well off, you're comfortable in your lifestyle. You've got friends and family members that you interact with on a day-to-day basis, just regular communication, but also financially, you all support each other. And then someday something happens, and all of a sudden you are forced to leave your home. You're forced to leave your potentially your family, your goods, your lifestyle, your way of life, and you go from being a normal person to being faced with this label of refugee. And honestly, that's how it goes for most people. It's not that they were desperate or desolate beforehand. It's like, no, who do we think these people are before they get that label? They're just normal people. And so unfortunately, that is the case for about 80 million people around the world today who have been forcibly displaced. And they are forced to do everything in cash, which is extremely dangerous, inconvenient, it's expensive to exchange, and they find themselves in a financially vulnerable position that prevents them from making progress in other areas of their life. And that is exactly why we've created Leaf. We are a global virtual wallet for the unbanked, specifically starting with refugees and migrants. We help them to store and transport money safely across borders. And it's been interesting, we can talk more about this later. COVID has really shaped a lot of what we do and how people are using our services. And so now we're kind of saying remittances, payments, and savings, which is an expanded use case from where we started, but what we see people actually doing with the platform, especially as COVID has pushed us all in a more digital way. And we accomplished that with a mobile wallet, very similar to other wallets that you've probably seen, but a bit different in that it is based on a blockchain on the back end, and it doesn't require a smartphone or internet connection. I'm sure you all know this, have seen this, a lot of these statistics, but about 1.8 billion people around the world are still unbanked. There's a large overlap with that population and those that are still using feature phones. We're actually seeing a resurgence of feature phones over the last 3 years, which is fascinating. But I don't think that that segment is going away anytime soon. And unfortunately, they're still very underserved. And so we saw a gap and an opportunity with that. And so we've decided to focus on East Africa and cross-border services. Again, more statistics that this group is probably very familiar with. The point here is, despite all of the great point-to-point money transfer services that are out there, it's still extremely expensive. When you look at intra-Africa transfers, money transfers, remittances or otherwise, that is still the most expensive corridor in the world. Like, for example, Tanzania to Uganda it costs about 25% to the consumer, which is just, I feel, unacceptable in this day and age. And so we're working to reduce that to the customer and then bring them into the formal economy while also making a profit. We are a for-profit company. And so we've seen a big opportunity here just in the ways that financial services are digitally able to reach that population. As I mentioned, the crisis is large and unfortunately growing with refugees and migrants. But one of the really interesting things about operating in these areas is that there are generally pretty good domestic payment networks. And so like mobile money in East Africa, you might be familiar with M-Pesa in Kenya, that's the most famous one, provides a really nice infrastructure for us to come in and build on top of. So we don't have to go build an agent network or a large physical footprint. That's already there. A matter of abstracting it up a level so that people can safely bring their money with them and then connect with friends and family financially. So we've dialed in on East Africa, and once we did that, we saw that actually cross-border traders are another very viable market for us. They have a lot of the same financial needs as refugees, but they transact in higher volumes and more frequently, and so we're really focused there. We're live today in Rwanda, Uganda, and Kenya, and you'll see Tanzania and Congo highlighted on the map because those are our next countries to expand into. I've been on the team in my background. So my co-founder, Nat Robinson, started and ran a successful microfinance company in Kenya. He was there for about 7 years and formerly a management consultant, also a lawyer and a serial entrepreneur, knows the region very, very well. And then my background is on the tech side. So I'm a data architect. I worked for a Fortune 75 healthcare company in the US for about 6 years before launching Leaf. And on the personal side of things, I've also worked with refugees in the US for about 15 years. So this is all just friends and family of mine that People that I love dearly, and I've seen firsthand exactly what happens when someone is forced to leave their way of life and not be able to bring their money with them. Getting stuck in that cycle of poverty once you have that label applied to you is often devastating and affects every area of life. So very, very important to me personally. And then the rest of the team, mostly based in Rwanda and Kenya, but we do have some people in the US as well. So to give you a sense of how Leaf works, I'll just walk you through the customer journey here. We're able to allow creating an account on a phone, and then people cash in through those domestic payment networks. So right now that's mobile money, but we can also expand that into Visa, MasterCard, bank accounts, even a voucher system. So for instance, we've done some work in Latin America, and like Via Boloto is one that people might be familiar with, or like the OXXO network in Mexico. Kind of however you pay your electricity, that's generally good rails for us to come and build on top of. And then once you've got money in the Leaf system, you can do whatever you need to do, live without cash. You can store your money, send and receive for free with anyone on the Leaf system. And then you can pay merchants as well. It doesn't require any special POS or even a Leaf account for the merchant. And then when you need to cash out, it's the same process. You can cash out to any mobile money number, regardless of country or network. And the way that happens on the back end is one global wallet that is accessible with two front ends. So one for smartphone, one for non-smartphone. I'll actually show you that in a moment, and I'll skip what we do because you'll see it. The way that this actually happens is that it's happening on a blockchain. That allows us to provide very cheap, fast transactions to a population that demands both high security and transparency. It's one that we get a lot of questions on. We take a pretty conservative approach because of the regulatory implications of that, but it really facilitates our processing speed and costs. And so our settlement costs are nearly zero because of this. And then we also don't expose users to volatility. So we're transacting, exclusively in stable coins, which you might have heard of, that are pegged one-to-one and backed one-to-one with fiat. I think that we are a bit different than other things out there on the market. There are a lot of wallets, but we're kind of in this intersection of money transfer, money storage, and payments, with our differentiating factor that is being that we can do all of this over non-smartphones. I think that being blockchain based also gives us a leg up on the security and transparency side, in addition to cost. But when you look at what we've really done that is extremely different, it boils down to that USSD feature phone market. Everybody wants to talk about compliance, regulation. So the short answer is we are a fintech. We just do the tech side of things. We don't touch the cash, which means that we are the unlicensed entity in the middle of all of the regulated entities that are kind of the cash in and cash out points. And our business model is similar to other financial institutions. So small transaction fees at cash out, Forex spread, and then we're working with EcoBank, which is a very large bank in Africa, to be able to do a revenue share on the float. So I'm going to actually skip the rest of this and just show you the product because I think that's very interesting. So hopefully you can see this. This is the Leaf wallet on a smartphone here. So you can see we've got a smartphone and a non-smartphone version. I think it's pretty easy to see on the smartphone, and then we'll jump over to the feature phone version. But with Leaf, you see you can cash in through mobile money from any number in the countries that we support. So like if I put my phone number here, you all can call me in Rwanda, and I just put the amount that I want to cash in, and then this will be deposited to my account once I confirm it from mobile money. We're also working with a partner in Europe to be able to do cash deposits, which is not something we ever thought we would get into, but during COVID, we've kind of seen the need for that. So we're working on enabling pounds and euros to start. And that's a new feature we'll be adding. Other things we can do on this, send money to anyone in the Leaf system. And this is what we're able to do for free. You can see here, once this validates the username, it pops up, and you don't even need currencies in common. If I wanted to send Kenya shillings to Ugandan shillings. Like for instance, this user that I'm sending to doesn't even transact in Kenya shillings, but we manage the exchange on the fly, and we're able to do that, skipping actually processing these transactions, but I think you get the gist. So we can also exchange into any of the currencies that we support. You can see we can add and remove currencies from our wallet here, cash out to any mobile money number. And then what's really nice, which shouldn't be a big deal, but kind of is in our markets, is that you can see all the transaction history back to the beginning of time. So obviously this is a test account that I'm working with. You'll see a lot of test transactions here. But this kind of transparency isn't generally available in the markets that we serve today, which is kind of crazy, but true. We also enable people to register other Leaf users natively on the app just to make that process easier. They go through a full KYC check with a government ID. And then of course you can see all of your profile information. So I want to show just very briefly what this looks like on the non-smartphone. So this is accessed on any feature phone by just dialing a short code, and then this menu bar pops up, and you can see it's all of the same features, and you just respond with a numeric input. So if I want to check my balance here, this is for a different account, I enter my PIN to confirm, and then I can see that sensitive information. This works on any basic phone anywhere in the world, which is really cool. And then when these transactions happen, you can see here, this is actually the blockchain account for one of the accounts that I just showed you, and it's all here. So if anyone ever wanted to dispute or see what's happening, that's completely available and yet transparent and de-identified or anonymized. So happy to take questions wherever you'd like to go. And then again, please do follow up. I'd love to talk more. Thanks.
Thank you, Tori, for that. And your demo. I actually had not seen the demo before. That was pretty interesting. Betsy, do you have any questions?
Yeah, this is really cool. So this is, I gather you're retail focused, correct? And the back end is done by banks, by EcoBank. You said you're typical of fintech. Since you're retail focused, I was wondering, what's your marketing? Are you out there building a brand in the countries and things like that? And I also was really curious, you said that you added savings in COVID. What was the tipping point to have you add savings during COVID?
Yeah, so I'll speak to the first one first. So we're very focused on individual consumers. That's where we see a big gap. There are a lot of businesses that focus on SMEs in Africa, and that's wonderful. I think that we'll get into that space, but there are existing really strong, trusted word of mouth networks that we've been able to tap into. And so whether that's targeting someone in the US or Europe who's sending remittances back home to East Africa and accessing them through digital marketing channels and then having them be the ones to promote that to their friends and family members that are a little bit harder to reach, we do that. And then we also do direct marketing in country. And so there's some digital, but for instance, radio is really popular here, and newspapers still. And then there's, I think, still our biggest marketing channel is just the word of mouth. And so I spend a lot of time talking to people, but it's interesting from the data, it actually mimics like viral patterns that you see for digital products because these networks are so strong. So really interesting there. Yeah. And then on the COVID side of things, so we started with savings, and then we added more focus on the remittances and payments. So we saw going into this that there's a lot of focus on lending, but nobody was really looking at this send to self model where you're just trying to bring your savings with you. And so when you're crossing borders, whether you're a refugee, a migrant, a cross-border trader, a vacationer, whatever, it's just still very difficult to do that. So that's where we started. But then during COVID, when people were more reliant upon remittances than usual because of economic hardship, and where payments were pushed to digital, we really started seeing the expanded use case, honestly, from our customers and their behavior patterns first. So this wasn't a marketing push. This was just what we saw them doing with the product on a day-to-day basis, and then tailoring everything to be able to respond to that quickly.
Interesting. Well, thank you so much. We're all going to have to help you with our digital word of mouth if we can.
Please do. Hey,
I don't know how many of us know people in Africa.
Yep,
Definitely.
I'm sure somebody does. So yes, happy
Thank
happy
you.
for that. Thanks.
All right, back to Olivia. I think we're down to our last one moment. I'm looking forward to this.
All right. Thank you so much, Tori. Good to see you again. We have up next, Comviva, which they apply to the RemTech Awards pretty much every year. They provide value-added services for mobile applications. So in remittances, and you guys are involved with so many different projects. I think actually you guys have a hand in TerraPay even too. Yeah, so good to have Mohit here again to describe what you guys did for COVID-19. You guys actually, we did particularly, this was another special category that we did this year, which was innovation in time of crisis, inspired of course by the pandemic. But we made it broader in terms of crisis because we just had this idea that there's going to be more, unfortunately, possible crises in the world, and how do we adapt, and wanting to celebrate those that were able to move very quickly and come up with solutions. So Mohit, tell us a little bit about what you guys have been working on. Mohit, can we hear you? You're muted.
Just a sec, sorry. Yeah, I can. I think you can hear me now.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, sure. And thank you, Olivia, for that introduction, and thank you, IMTC and REM Tech Awards for recognizing our efforts in fighting this pandemic. Just a brief introduction about who Comviva is. So Comviva leverages mobile technology or mobile phones to provide digital solutions to telcos, banks, retailers, and large number of other customers. So digital financial solutions is one of our key unit, and Mobiquity is our flagship product. And we'll be looking at how we responded to this COVID crisis here. So Comviva is one of the largest B2B or white label mobile money platform that enables unbanked people to do financial transactions. We power over 70 mobile money services almost across 4 continents in 50+ countries. We serve financial needs of almost 130 million people, transacting around 7 billion, valuing $130 billion. So that's huge numbers coming in. So we have clients like Airtel Money, Orange Money, EcoCash, Grameen Phone, GPay. So all those, so we work across multiple countries, as you can see in the map. So a number of big clients, and when COVID came in, digital actually became important. And this is the story about how we served our clients in bringing innovative services to the market. Just how Mobiquity works, I'll give a brief and then we'll go to the COVID part. So Mobiquity creates a stored value account, which is basically a digital wallet or a mobile wallet for each of the customer, which is linked to their mobile number. So using this mobile number, which acts as a unique identifier, just like your bank account number for your bank. So you can just using this mobile number and entering the payment amount, you can transfer the money. So as Tori said that in Africa or in other developing countries where we work, you have USSD also. So USSD and IVR, we use that channels for feature phone users and smartphone apps for the and mobile apps for the smartphone users. So hence we are device agnostic in terms of serving customers. Also, you just need mobile connection. Hence, unbanked people can also use it. So this particular platform is a diverse or an inclusive platform made for everybody. In most of these countries, we see that there's a huge agent network that is required to run these kind of mobile money services or providing last mile services of deposit and withdrawals into these mobile wallets. So Mobiquity also helps to build the distribution network consisting of agents, super agents, and the distributors. Transaction, of course, happens in real time in milliseconds. Hence, these are instant. And it's an end-to-end mobile money service, so you can use it 24/7, anywhere, anytime. Also, it's secure because you have to use PIN to do the transaction. So PIN, all the transactions are PIN protected. We give a host of services, not just mobile money transfer, but remittances. We have merchant payment, and merchant payment can also be done in multiple ways, just by typing a 5-6 digit merchant ID, or some operators have issued companion cards, Visa and MasterCard, that can be used across POS machines, or they can be scanning of QR codes. There are other use cases like bill payments, recharge, bulk payments, B2B payments, ticketing, savings, insurance, and loans that can also be done through your mobile wallets. So that's overall a brief about Mobiquity. Now coming to the real part. So we have seen that mobile money and digital payments are important tools in fight against COVID. So we see we do contactless payment at these times, so which are more hygienic. We like to, within these lockdown, when we are in lockdown in our homes, we like to do remote transaction from our home, or for vulnerable people, for them to receive financial aid directly into their mobile wallet, or governments are collecting donations digitally through this mobile wallet. So we saw a lot of use cases coming into work during the COVID-19, and we helped each of our clients in making changes in their services or bringing new use cases to fight this pandemic collectively. There are some 10 use cases. I'll go one by one. So the first 3 are the regulatory changes. So first was about waiving of service fee. So when COVID came in, a lot of countries, the regulators decided to make the service fee of money transfers, remittances, bill payments, merchant payments to 0. So that to encourage more and more people, even the budget conscious low income users, to use mobile wallets. You can see examples here. Airtel completely removed service fee on money transfers, merchant payments, and bank to wallet transfers. Senegal, the 2 operators there remove service fee on the bill payments. In Egypt, to discourage people from going to agents for cash in and cash out, they actually made deposit and withdrawals in mobile wallet using ATMs free. In Morocco did free P2P transfers. So basically, we saw over 30 million people enjoying free transactions during these pandemic times. All these, they were able to do this within minutes using Mobiquity's pricing engine tool, so that they can quickly change the prices, reduce the service charges, and give 0 fee benefit to customers. The impact we have seen is phenomenal. So here I'm sharing some data from one of our clients, Airtel Money, which operates in almost 14 countries. So you see Q1 is the pre-COVID quarter. Before that, the growth was around 0.4%, which was almost stagnant growth. But with P2P transfers becoming free there, from Q1 to Q2, which is the COVID quarter, the transaction zoomed by 12.5%. And further, when in Q3, when this free P2P continued, though it was removed in mid of Q3, but there we also saw a 28.7% increase. And this even after the service fees came in, the people continued using it. And that was something very interesting, which we saw. Yes, this has impact on revenue. So second graph, you see there is Q1 to Q2, there's no growth within the revenues. But if you see the next quarter, with fee coming in, people still using, the revenue actually came in. In case of Egypt, where people were encouraged to use ATMs for fund deposit and withdrawal, we saw a 48% increase in just 2 months. The second regulatory change was around increase in transaction and balance limit. So the regulators wanted more and more people to use mobile wallets and mobile financial transactions, and hence they increased the limit. You can see example of BTC, Airtel Malawi, and one of our wallets from Oman here. Again, the threshold management tools which Mobiquity provides help you to quickly change the transaction limits and serve the customers. Over 12 million people were getting higher mobile money limits, and we saw these limits also have impact on transaction. Average P2P transfer increased by 250, average value of P2P transfer increased by 250% in Oman just by doubling the transaction limits. So that was the impact we saw. Another regulatory change was around easing of KYC rules. So Egypt allowed eKYC and remote onboarding. Earlier, people used to have to go to agents to register. But with COVID, one of our clients launched this service of minimum KYC, where customers through their mobile can just enter their national ID and create a PIN and can start using the wallet. However, the wallet they received was a temporary wallet. This was a 3-month wallet, which has a lower limit. So it has EGP 10,000 compared to permanent wallet of 50,000. So to actually move to your permanent wallet, you can go to an agent and upgrade it to a permanent wallet. But at least for certain 3 months time, you get a temporary wallet which we can use. And again, as I said, the impact which we have seen during COVID of these new initiatives has been phenomenal. So we saw a 14% growth just in one month in customers there. So that's again something interesting, how easing of KYC rule can actually help in getting more customers. Another thing was about financial aid disbursement. We saw a lot of countries, governments providing financial aid to vulnerable people, low and mid-income people whose salary or whose jobs were impacted. In Colombia, for example, we saw 150 million families held by Mobi Wallet. They were provided a financial aid of 160,000 pesos per month. It is still continuing. In Iraq, thousands of people got government grants in Asia Wala Wallet. Again, a lot of them were migrants. So we have seen these people using our bulk payment module to do these transactions. Of course, bulk payment put a lot of load on the system, but then we do process these in batches so that we are able to maintain high service uptime. Again, this is the impact on the transaction on the users. So Mobi, which was being used first time in Colombia for providing financial aid, saw a growth in customers, exponential growth in customers. You can see 128% growth in 4 months. They have already crossed 1 million customers, and they are just 2 years old mobile wallet, and their growth has been phenomenal there. And a lot of people who got money, they were using the mobile wallet in digital format rather than cashing out. So some of the stats you can see at the bottom, that mobile wallets are also being used actively, not just being, the money is not just being cashed out. Another thing which we saw was governments collecting donations for buying protective clothes, ventilators, medication, and sanitizers. Mobiquity creates a wallet for these customers or the NGOs or the governments who are collecting this money, and then the customer just have to enter the business ID which is provided to this NGO and the amount, the PIN, and the donation is done. So it is very quick donation. We saw this in Uganda, Bahrain, Zimbabwe. You can see 1.45 million Zimbabwean dollars were collected. Colombia, there was a case where rather you can donate amount equivalent to a food basket. So this was with one of the supermarkets there. So we saw interesting use cases being coming where governments collecting donations through these service. And in fact, one of our clients in Bahrain, they actually made this a permanent feature. Beyond just COVID donation, they tried it for other donations also. So that's something interesting which we saw. Coming to the other part of the problems was agents were not available in this time. Yeah, I'll just yeah. So we saw agents. They were these cash in, cash out, or the deposit withdrawal agents. They were allowed to visit customers' home to provide the service. In Senegal, a few other countries saw this kind of transactions. Also, there were changes in UX changes in mobile money menu. So, for example, we saw Airtel Tanzania bringing a new zero get money menu. So just above their entire menu, and it incorporated all the features which allowed people to get fund their wallet while sitting at home. For example, they can transfer money from the bank accounts to their mobile wallet, or they can get short-term loans, or they can request money from their friends. So that's what Airtel Tanzania did to ensure people have money in their wallet to do transactions. Another thing which Airtel did was community recharge, where they allowed the customers to recharge for their friends and family, so that those who are not able to visit these recharge agents are able to get the prepaid credit and able to talk to other people in these tough times. And we saw that Airtel was able to maintain their usage figures within these times. Also, festivals went digital. We saw in Middle East that during Eid time, you give Eidia, which is a money gift from elders to youngers. That also went digital. One of our wallets in Oman did that. So we saw a lot of initiatives coming in. Olivia, I'm finishing this as the last slide. So we saw a number of initiatives being developed. This was possible because of the flexibility which Mobiquity platform provides to make changes in pricing, in thresholds. also our agility. Some of these services were delivered in less than 10 days because the clients wanted that within the market. And lastly, the stability. So we monitored our transactions so that everything works well. And thankfully, there was no downtime in any of our major deployments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohit, so much. I hate to kind of cut that short at the end because you guys have been doing such great work. It sounds like a lot of you're getting money where it needs to go and doing it in a very short time. So congratulations and thank you for your work on that. Betsy, you had a quick question?
Okay, great. Yep, no, I wanted to just do our speed round. I did have one quick question for Mohit, but I don't know if we're gonna have time to answer it. I'm really curious as to how many initiatives stayed on. And I want to thank our speakers. I think this was really interesting to have two people on a B2B on the wholesale level and then Tori on the retail level. But I wanted to try this speed round. So I wanted to really try it here. So if the three speakers can unmute their phone and everybody else, if you can put on your videos, because some of these are for everybody. So we're going to do some thumbs up, some thumbs down. So the first question is for the three speakers. After when your business first started, when you were first founding the business, what was the first hire you did after the first founders? Is speed round. First thing that comes to your head. Interns. Anybody else? Okay, come on, I don't see enough cameras coming on. All right, so this is, all right. So, all right, these are general questions, but has your business, this for the speakers too, has your business gone up or down since COVID? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Up.
Up, that's really interesting, up, okay. Next one, this is for everybody. Will cash, I'm trying to also get a picture of everybody, so turn your cameras on, guys. There's Deb and everybody else. All right, so will cash be eliminated in the next 10 years? Will we all be mobile and not have any cash in our pockets in 10 years? Who thinks yes for within 10 years? Oh, the Tory's saying no, wow. That is really interesting that Tori and Moment and Philip are saying no.
Sorry,
wow.
Too much of a realist over here. Be great.
No, I think, well, you probably know a lot more than I do. So that's really interesting that you said no. Wow, okay. Do you see your company?
It's also who we are. We're all the tech people. We're not the people who use cash. So the people who use cash, if they say you think you can give it up, but they're not on this call.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so do you see your companies going back to a physical office in 2021? Are we going to be out of our Zooms and into offices? I see one no. No's. Tori's halfway. Nobody else is answering.
Maybe after June.
After June, okay. And then when are we going to be doing in-person conferences again? Do we see in-corpus conferences in 2021? I know Tori wants to go back to them. I don't desperately want to go back to conferences. I miss seeing everybody.
Second half of 2021, maybe.
Second half.
Like maybe second quarter, third quarter. I mean, third quarter, certainly fourth, but third quarter.
We still have some very shy people who are not turning on their videos. All right. But thank you all very much. I really wanted to do this. I personally really enjoyed seeing three presenters and having kind of a mini Finovate kind of thing. I so appreciate you guys speaking to us. And I like the fact that we had a really mix of speakers. Thank you very much. I'm not sure if other people agree with me, but I really appreciate you doing this and thank you very, very much. And if anybody has other ideas for NYPAY, David True is on and Ron, who are all part of the NYPAY executive board. I'm just on the events committee. Please let us know any ideas you have. And it was very nice to meet you. And anybody else want to add their LinkedIn profiles to the chat? We can leave it open as people go, but thank you very much and have a really nice day.
Well, guys, it's snowing in New York. See you guys.
I didn't look outside yet.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.